Welcome back to John's Jazz Joint with my producer Lisa and her entourage of kids and dogs and cats. We're happy to be back with you. You'll remember the last time we were looking at a lot of the tunes that he wrote for Broadway, and Broadway for Cole Porter meant also putting plays on in London and Paris as well as in New York City. So today we're going to focus on Paris. That's basically goes back to when he was in the French Foreign Legion. Surprisingly enough, when World War I broke out in 1917, he went across to France and he served in North Africa. You'll remember our telling you about how he carried a musical instrument with him on his back and he entertained the troops in different parts of uh, the World War I setting. Anyway, he was never far removed from money, and when his grandfather gave him his inheritance, he found many ways to spend it. And one of the ways he found to spend it was meeting up with Linda Lee Thomas. And remember, we talked about her. I'll show you. Remember, here's a picture of Cole Porter back in the day when he was in his prime. But here's a picture of his wife, Linda Lee Thomas. She was from Kentucky, and she was also from Wealth. Very beautiful lady. She was 8 years older than Cole, but they had a lot in common. They loved to travel. They loved a lot of the things that wealthy people love. And so they had a great attraction for each other. Now, she was aware that he preferred men to women, and that didn't bother her so much because she always had a date, if you want to look at it that way. So they met in 1917 and married in 1919, 2 years later. And we talked about how they liked to spend money in Paris and Venice, Italy, and basically she understood that he was a songwriter and that that's basically what he was going to do with his career. She tried to get him to do classical music. She even tried to get him in with Igor Stravinsky, but that didn't quite work out. But he did take some music lessons in Paris, and I suppose to some extent that helped him with his work. But anyway, today we're taking a look at the relationship of Cole Porter to Paris and also to his wife, Linda Lee. We're going to start off with this first song about, which is really a look at the city of Paris, which he loved. And if you've had the good fortune to visit Paris, as I have, I've been there 3 times, climbed the Eiffel Tower 3 times. It's a beautiful city, as most cities do have their wonderful places. This first song then is "I Love Paris," and it's a tribute to the city. Hope you like it. I love Paris in the springtime. I love Paris in the fall. I love Paris in the winter when it drizzles. I love Paris in the summer when it sizzles. I love Paris every moment of the year. I love Paris. Why, oh, why do I love Paris? Because my love is near. So, if I flash forward to 1935, 36, 37, this is the time when Cole Porter was producing music not only for Broadway but also for Hollywood. And when they moved to Hollywood, there became a bit of a problem with his sexuality because before he had practiced in the closet, so to speak, but in Hollywood it was a much more open environment for that kind of activity, and she didn't like it much. So she went back to Paris. She went back to Paris and left him in Hollywood. Now, he realized that this was not a good state of affairs, so he rushed back to Paris and tried to win her to come back with him. She refused. And so that sort of set the stage for the next big event in Cole Porter's life. You'll remember the last time round we talked about how he had been horseback riding with some Italian nobility in the United States, and a horse rolled over on his legs, both legs, and so he was severely damaged, and there was a thought of having his legs amputated. He refused, and Linda Lee rushed over from Paris, and there was a rapprochement between the two, and they stayed together. She supported him until she passed away in 1954. And so this tragic accident, which cost him the use of his limbs, he did not get an amputation until much later. He put up with the pain, but it sent him back to work, and Linda Lee stayed with him. And so that brings us to the second song, which kind of, to me, encapsulates the relationship he had with her, the ups and downs of married life. As you well know, the path of true love is not a straight one, it zigzags all over the place. When love comes in and takes you for a spin, ooh la la la, c'est magnifique. When every night your loved one holds you tight, ooh la la la, c'est magnifique. But when one day your loved one drifts away, oh la la la, that is so tragique. But when once more she whispers, je t'adore, c'est magnifique, c'est magnifique. And of course, every makeup time holds its rewards. Not that you should go looking for a fight, but making up sometimes is worth the pain.
Sweet.
Well, as I said, the two of them stayed together from this tragic accident in 1937 until her passing in 1954. She sadly died of emphysema. Cole would go on to live for another 10 years until 1964. But after she died, he moved into the Waldorf Towers in New York City for the most part. He had 34 operations on his legs once some ulcers had begun to grow on his legs, and eventually one of his legs was amputated. After the amputation, he did not write another song. He lived for another 6 years and received friends in his apartment. So it was a sort of a very sad, tragic ending to what had been a very glamorous and luxury-laden life for Cole Porter. He was buried in his native town of Peru, Indiana, and so that brings us to the end of part 3 on Cole Porter. We have one further part. There are a number of songs that we haven't touched on yet, great songs, and in our next episode we will just focus not on the life of Cole Porter, but on about 3 or 4 of his noteworthy songs that really made a mark in both Broadway and the movies. The last song, of course, of great note was in the movie High Society with Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra,
Oh, wow.
and Grace Kelly. And that was Cole Porter's song True Love, which we'll try and squeeze in at the very end of the next episode. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I want to say a special greeting to Nancy Sametz, who made mention that she had enjoyed the second part and was looking forward to the third. Well, this was the third, Nancy. I hope you enjoy it. And to the rest of you, take care. We look forward to seeing you at the next time. From, uh, from my partner, Lisa, and myself, happy trails. See you soon. Bye now.